Again, what a wonderful event that we had last Saturday. I believe we had over 600 people. We had 400 that bought tickets. We had, I know, at least 200 that were there that were serving, attending, parking car, checking people in. So what a great event. Kathy is still finalizing numbers. We're waiting on a couple receipts. So I was very pleased with the outcome. What a wonderful facility that we have at the Grove Expo Center. So thank you, Steve. Great job, thank you so much. And Amanda has an announcement she would like to make before she introduces our speaker for today.
Thank you, Serena. Two things before I do. I'm really fast. I keep saying I'm the new girl, but it was my first Lobster Fest. If you were there and you helped Rotary in any capacity, will you stand so we can recognize you and tell you thank you? Wow. We live in a volunteer world at the Chamber, so thank you guys all. We had a great time. And one shameless plug, I didn't get up here during announcements, but just really quick. Toes in the Grand is next weekend. I know Judy has it in the announcements. We have some extra posters at our table down here. If you've got a place of business that would be willing to hang that up in a window for us, we would love it. We're super excited about that event. I do have a special presentation before we get Amy up here. So a couple of weeks ago, we had an education forum at Grove Public Schools. We were able to get to know Doug Brown a little bit better, our new Grove superintendent. We also brought in Derek Beller with Northeast Tech and got to know Derek a little bit better. But one thing we wanted to do there, and we didn't get to do it because he was out of town, but we have a special presentation that we want to do for Pat Dotson. Pat, if you'll make your way up here. This is just, I'll let Serena hold it. It is a Grove Community Champion Award. If you guys know Pat, he has been more than 3 decades in this community serving in education. And we just wanted to do something small at the education forum and say thank you and wish you well on your retirement. Thank you, Pat, and welcome, Doug. It's good to see you here today. Okay, well, it is my privilege today to be able to introduce our speaker. Amy Blackburn serves as Executive Director of the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department. She leads statewide efforts in growing visitation, strengthening local economies, and supporting Oklahoma's tourism and hospitality industry. She brings more than 20 years of experience in marketing, communications, and public sector leadership, including senior roles with the Oklahoma Department of Commerce, where she led statewide branding and business recruiting communications, which she knocked it out of the park for a very long time. Amy is an Oklahoma State University graduate, we won't hold that against her today, and is focused on building strong partnerships with industry leaders to position Oklahoma as a competitive and welcoming destination. And I will say, I'm going to date myself, but she's the 7th executive director that I've worked with since 2006, and I would say it even if she wasn't here, but so far she's been the best. So help me welcome Amy.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Again, my name is Amy Blackburn. I'm the Executive Director for the Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department. Today I'm going to be a big old nerd, and we're going to talk a few numbers. And these numbers are really important for Northeast Oklahoma because this is a true gem in terms of hospitality and in visitation for our state. Northeast Oklahoma is, it's a place that's near and dear to my heart, but I know that it's also an incredible destination for out-of-state visitors. So at Oklahoma Tourism, we typically like to focus on what I call OPM, other people's money. We like out-of-state visitation. I've already got all y'all's money. But really we like to see out-of-state visitors, and Northeast Oklahoma is really a true hub for that. So let's talk about the overall economic impact in Oklahoma. Tourism is economic development. I feel like I need to get that tattooed on my body somewhere because I say it a whole bunch. But tourism really is economic development, and it drives state and local tax revenues in communities across all 77 counties. So here's the title here. Here's really the big one. $12.8 billion in direct travel spending in the state of Oklahoma. We welcomed 25.2 million visitors. Statewide, we generated almost $1 billion, $954 million in state and local taxes. And we employed over 109,000 people and those hardworking folks earned $3.4 billion in 2025 alone. That's some incredible data for us to take down to the state capitol in order to try and get them to invest their time and money into promoting Oklahoma as a tourism destination. Here's the big ones. Tourism is the third largest industry in Oklahoma in terms of exports. It's the number 2 private sector employer in Oklahoma. It's the number 3 small business employer in Oklahoma, and the number 1 small business employer for export industries. And you may wonder, why is tourism an export industry? It's because people are coming from out of state into our state and taking what we have out back with them, which is, of course, a lifetime of memories. So, and so those are kind of some key talking points that I like to use when kind of talking with wonderful groups like the Grove Rotary Club, but and others, because it's these kind of top 3 rankings that really seem to resonate. Today we're going to talk about 3 different things: the economic contribution, visitor behavior and demand, as well as workforce impact. So starting off with economic contribution, visitors spent nearly $12.8 billion in the state of Oklahoma last year. And you can see that kind of progression, that little downward turn, little thing called COVID, you might have heard of it. That was a major hit, of course, to tourism, but I'm happy to say that we have rebounded and we're continuing to grow. So that is a big deal. And I know it's a little bit hard to see, but the blue is non-transportation tourism. The orange is transportation-related tourism. So think about airplanes, group tours, gas to fill up a car on a road trip, things like that. And then the other is so that's kind of how that's made up. But yeah, $12.8 billion statewide. What's that mean for Delaware County? Well, we are looking at a 6% year-over-year increase in tourism-related spending in Delaware County alone, totaling up to 227 million, gosh, words are hard, y'all. $227 million in direct travel spending in Delaware County alone. That is, you guys should, let's do a round of applause for that one, because that is huge, and thanks to involved and engaged citizens and businesses just like you. So, and a little bit of icing on the cake. That travel spending has increased 33.5% over the last 10 years. That is incredible. So, good job, Delaware County, y'all are killing. All right. Back to kind of our statewide, we're looking at $954 million in state and local taxes. I hope that this time next year, Amanda is gracious enough to invite me back and I get to say that that is over $1 billion in state and local taxes. That's the goal. One more time for the people in the back. There we go. Looking at Delaware County, again, killing it. Year over year, your local taxes, local only, are up 12.7% with travel and tourism spending. That is how important the travel and tourism industry is for Northeast Oklahoma. We continue to see hospitality and experience. So again, I know it's a little hard to see, but going from left to right, it's accommodations, food service, food stores, local transportation and gas, arts, entertainment, recreation and gaming, retail sales, and then air travel. So we are seeing statewide some really incredible gains in accommodations, food service, and arts, entertainment, and gaming. And that's those memories that people are bringing back home when they come to visit. STVR, that means short-term vacation rental, and I know that's a big deal in these parts. So Airbnbs, VRBOs, all of those. It's continuing to rise. As you'll see, it's the little short one, but it's actually up 14.6% year over year. I will say that I think that the short-term vacation rental industry is starting to cool off a little bit, because yes, it is at 14.6% year over year now, but last year's year over year increase was over 23%. So it's starting to cool off a little bit, and I know that that's really important for some of our lake communities like Grove. All right, visitor behavior and demand. Overnight trips continue to tick up. Why is this so important? Overnight visitors are the ones that spend money. What do we like? OPM, other people's money. Those are the folks that are staying, they're eating in your restaurants, they're staying in your hotels or in your short-term vacation rentals. They are renting boats. They are attending Lobster Fest. It's those overnight trips that are really important when it comes to the travel and hospitality industry. And we're seeing that continue to rise to 25.2 million total trips. And overnight travel continues to expand. This is a lot of numbers, so I'm actually just going to skip over that one. But what I did want to show you is this lower table down at the bottom is for Delaware County. So your average overnight spending per person per trip is up 7.2%. Per night, even just one night, it's up 7.6%. So everybody who's coming into town and spending one night, year over year, they're spending more. And the per party means a group. So you've got your per person spending and then your per group spending. And your per night spending for a group, at least $220 right here in Delaware County, up over 7% year over year. So I know this is a lot of numbers, but it's important to really understand the economic impact of travel and tourism in Oklahoma statewide, but especially for our lake communities. Looking at workforce, total tourism generates $3.4 billion in earnings for Oklahomans that work in the travel and hospitality industry, and that is up 4.1% year over year. For Delaware County, that year over year increase is even higher. We're looking at 10.2% in total earnings for employees in the travel and hospitality industry year over year. That tells me that things are thriving. As if all the other numbers didn't tell me that, right here in Delaware County, this is a big one. When we look at total employment, statewide, we've kind of recovered and stabilized. I expect that to be relatively even for the next few years. But I do know that has also increased significantly in Delaware County. So again, this is kind of the big one where we're looking at that statewide impact, 12.8 billion, 25.2 million visitors, almost $1 billion in state and local tax revenue, and over 109,000 jobs statewide. Much of that fueled by Northeast Oklahoma, which is why I'm so happy to be here, and I'm so happy to have strong communities like Grove, and thanks to people like you here at the Grove Rotary Club. I will say, right before I walked in, I was on the phone with Lieutenant Governor Matt Pinnell, and what are you doing today? I said, well, I'm in Grove, and I'm going to go talk to the Grove Rotary. And he said that the Grove Rotary Club is one of the strongest Rotary clubs in all of Oklahoma, and he's been to all of them, every single one. And so that's a huge compliment to this lovely group of people. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions. I also want to recognize and Oklahoma Tourism and Recreation Department Commissioner, Andy Stewart, nominated by Governor Stitt to serve on our commission. So if there are any questions related to the data, okay, yeah.
Love the data. Where do you get the data, and how do you disseminate the dollars from tourism dollars versus resident?
Sure. So we get the data from a company called Dean Runyon. They are an internationally recognized economic impact research firm. It's not just, some Joe Blow on the street. It is we make sure that they are respected in the industry, respected in economic development, broadly, and they are able to pull things like restaurant sales, retail sales. They also pull, obviously, hotel and overnight stays, as well as kind of some of those indirect impacts as well.
I'm with Charlie. Great data. It's incredible that you have this much. I'm just wondering if you've done any what-if analysis. How much money would we make up here if it didn't cost $10 extra on the turnpike to get here from Tulsa and $20 extra to get here from Oklahoma City?
Well, I will say that because we are pretty narrowly focused on out-of-state visitation, coming from Tulsa to OKC is not, that's not exactly a giant priority for us. We're really focused on out-of-state marketing. We spend about 70% of our marketing budget out of state to try and get those out-of-state travelers in.
Well, let's say Texas then.
Sure.
All I'm saying is that any place that charges you to get there by a toll road that should have been gone 50 years ago has less people than it probably would if it were free.
I totally agree, and I think that, one, I'd be happy to refer you to Secretary Tim Gatz from the Department of Transportation on that. But I will say, all of our surrounding states have toll roads too. So, that's why we have the plate pay, is because like coming up from Texas, they have toll roads too. We charge them, they charge us. So I think, sadly, I hate it too. I think that it's a little bit of this is how it's going to be. But I do definitely appreciate the concern. Yes.
What are the principal states where we recruit?
Texas, North Texas particularly. Of course, up here we're drawing from Arkansas, Missouri, and Southeast Kansas. So we do a significant amount of advertising in those states as well. Yes.
Of the 25.2, does that include Oklahoma people who come from Oklahoma City to here?
No, that is out-of-state visitors.
All out of state.
Yep.
Now you made me forget what I was going to ask. Go on, I'll remember.
Okay. In the back.
So I wonder, you have these great numbers about overnight stays and taxes and all that. Can you shed some light on why we can't get a hotel in Delaware County?
Talk to the Department of Commerce. Clearly that demand is there, and continuing to partner with your economic developers in the area and the region and with the state. I know, I used to work there, the Department of Commerce is ready and willing to help pull together some efforts to get additional hotel rooms in the growth. In the back.
If you mentioned this, I'm sorry. What is actually the #1 tourist attraction in our state that's bringing these people in?
Reed Drummond.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay,
Yeah.
so where does we fall? Where does Grand Lake fall in tourism?
I don't have that information quite yet. This information is actually pretty hot off the press, particularly the county level information. So we haven't been able to spend just time ranking and all that good stuff. But I appreciate that. I'll be happy to get that information to Amanda.
And what's your most effective means of marketing to these out-of-state people?
Anytime we can drive people to travelok.com, it is our best way of tracking actual visitation. When we do, let's say, a billboard, that's really difficult for us to track if that billboard led to additional visitation. But any of our digital tracking, we know that when people visit travelok.com, they are more likely to come and visit Oklahoma. You remember?
I remember. As someone who does a lot of entertainment in Oklahoma and in this northeastern part, I see a lot of people from Wichita, Kansas City, and Bentonville. Are you also looking at those places?
Yes, and we are actively advertising in each of those markets. You know, Arkansas is a little bit of a tough one for us because they have the benefit of having a statewide visitor tax or hotel lodging tax. I was told I can't call it a hotel lodging tax because the tax isn't on the hotels, the tax is on the visitors, so it's a visitor tax. But they have a statewide one, and that helps fund their marketing. Right now, the state of Oklahoma, we are capped. Our marketing budget is $5.75 million, and it has been for well over a decade. Arkansas's marketing budget, because they have a statewide lodging visitor tax, theirs is about $28 million. So it's a little bit difficult for us to compete, but we're working on it. We're trying hard. Yes.
What do you think the impact of the Route 66 celebration will be statewide for Oklahoma this year?
From an economic impact, a lot. I don't have like firm numbers. As we learned in Tulsa last week, whenever you're inviting Route 66 people, however many people you think are going to come, double it. Yeah, we're learning that lesson the hard way. You know, Route 66 is an incredible asset for our state. If you don't know, we have more drivable miles of Route 66 than any other state in the nation. So yeah, so this centennial is great for Oklahoma. And if we're all doing our jobs right, that momentum is just going to continue to go up. So we are anticipating significant economic impact. That's why that $954 million, I want that M to a B next year when I come back. So this is, it's an incredible asset. In fact, tomorrow I am interviewing with Good Morning America about the Route 66 Centennial. So look for that on Friday morning on Good Morning America. It's incredible. So I think we have one more question out there.
Yeah, it was again about Route 66. Oh, let me get you to, if you could expound on some of the projects and approaches you've used there to support.
So, there's a lot of efforts going on, both on the state, region, and local levels related to Route 66. Couple of ones that I've had the privilege of being involved in is I am a commissioner on the Route 66 Commission. I'm also a commissioner on the Route 66 Centennial Commission, and those are different. One of them, and I get them mixed up, one of them grants money to the other. So the Route 66 Commission is appropriated $6.6 million every year, and we just got the sunset on that lifted. So that $6.6 million is going to be available for Route 66 in perpetuity. And yeah, it's fantastic. And what we do with that $6.6 million is we grant out money to communities along the route to do community development programs. You know, sometimes it's restoring old buildings. Sometimes it's creating new monuments. There's a variety of really, really great projects. We've done several in Bonita that really help drive people to Route 66. And again, it's about maintaining that momentum. So lifting that sunset on those funds and allowing that commission to continue to provide those grants is going to be huge for all of the Route 66 communities in Oklahoma. Yeah.
I had a patient that goes Route 66 car or vintage car to your parade, so I guess you had a hard time getting your 5,000 cars through your route.
Okay, story time. We did, and that's kind of part of the problem. So when you're going for a Guinness Book of World, a Guinness record, they have a lot of rules. And one of those rules related to a classic car cruise had to do with the spacing of the cars. And if the cars got too far apart, they were disqualified. And so we had some, cars would, maybe break down along the parade, or we had some like hot rods that would like speed up real fast and try and, rev their engine, and it would create too much space. And so that was a big challenge. We had over 5,300 people register for the Route 66 Capital Cruise. Now, what's interesting about that is that, 5,300 people, we only had 300 packets that were not picked up. And then we had those 300 packets got kind of supplemented by 300 people registering that day. So it was incredible. Now I understand there were some challenges related to getting everybody counted and all that stuff, but we've never done this before, and we won't do it again in any of our lifetimes. So I think that Visit Tulsa and everyone that helped put on that event deserves a little grace, because at the end of the day, they're all still world record holders. Yes.
So my question was, we're a huge hunting and fishing state.
Yes.
How much of your data, can you pie that out? What's hunting and what's fishing?
We cannot. That is for the Department of Wildlife. I'd love to say that we could, attribute that, but really that happens with licensure. And since the Department of Wildlife maintains all of our licensure, that's really kind of how they do it. But if someone is coming to Oklahoma and, with the intent of hunting and fishing, we are capturing the data that they spent staying in hotels, spending money in small businesses, eating at restaurants. That data is captured.
And it's kind of a precautionary tale, because I know other states get real finicky with their tags, and deer tags, and elk tags. There used to be a large group of people in this community that would call that every year, and you get an elk tag for $250, and then they went and tripled that, and now we don't go. And I just think it's really short-sighted sometimes. We have one agency that's, like the Department of Wildlife that's decided what we're going to charge tags, but it affects tourism hugely. Hotels, spending, and going out to dinner, and all those things. And it's an interesting thing. If you look at it state by state, there's definitely something to bring somebody into your department, look at that. Because they're doing something that's really impacting your data.
Sure. Yeah. No, for sure.
And it's the same thing with, we're trying to keep up with tags, toll tags.
Yeah.
But if you go across the state to Kansas, what they've done with going to Kansas and shooting them up.
Yeah.
They raise those things where people don't want to go anymore.
Yeah.
And now they don't go.
Yeah. No, that makes perfect sense. Certainly something to think about. Next time I run into my counterpart over at ODWC, I'll be sure to mention that. Yes.
Dr. Becker, as usual, makes his point more classically than I did. That was my point, was that the turnpike is dampening your business. And it's not that I'm trying to complain to you about the turnpikes. I'm saying that I think there's an opportunity for you to try to get some measurement on how much dampening it is, because your numbers are so large up there.
Mm-hmm. And they're growing.
You may have the only political power in the state of Oklahoma to do anything about the way that the turnpike.
You are grossly overestimating my power. Anyways, thank you for sharing those concerns. We'll certainly take that under advisement. I work with Tim Gatz often on both of those Route 66 commissions, so I'll be sure to mention that. I know that they are taking a real hard look at the Turnpike Authority and how those monies are being collected and spent. So, yes.
Since you focus on out-of-state marketing, is anyone focusing on in-state, keeping those visitors at our local address?
So we do have 30% of our marketing budget that really is focused on keeping people here. It's a little hard to compete when, Arkansas is spending $28 million, outside to try and get our people over there. But it is something we are focused on. And we depend a lot on our local partners, like Visit Tulsa, Visit OKC, various chambers and CVBs to help supplement those efforts in terms of keeping people around. Yes?
I just want to throw out a compliment
Oh, thank you.
You mentioned the website, and if you haven't spent any time on the website, one certainly needs to. My peers brag about Oklahoma's website is easiest to navigate, plus they have the itineraries planned for you and trivia and game, all those different things if you have young people in the car. And if you haven't been there, you need to take advantage of it.
Thank you. We're about to change it, but but thank you so much. Yes.
What other events do we have coming up statewide or new facilities that are coming up that might attract more tourism into the state that we need to know about?
You mean other than the Grove Expo Center? So there's a lot of really cool things happening, especially with Route 66. So one that I'm particularly looking forward to right on the route is in Arcadia, Edmond area outside of Oklahoma City. They're doing some really cool rowing events. As you know, there's a little thing called the Olympics coming to our state here in a couple years. And so they're really kind of doubling down on that and trying to get people to, they're like literally creating new sports. There's on August, I believe it's like 29th and 30th, they're doing a really cool rowing event at Lake Arcadia. We're also looking at several America 250 celebrations statewide, where, communities are coming together for 4th of July parades and all sorts of good stuff. There's a lot going on in Oklahoma. Again, please check travelok.com. We've got all of those events listed. So anywhere you want to go, there's going to be something to do.
Okay, so obviously this is exciting, and I know I said it earlier, but you have absolutely hit the ground running for the industry. So I'm very appreciative for that. So I was here, I presented this type of data to this group from 2022.
Yes.
And we hadn't seen it yet. So the fact of where we were to where we are now, it's a huge thing. So I say all that because there's such a in here that I know in your role, you need us on the opposite side. So what would you say to the stakeholders in this room? I know we're talking about tourism and visitor development today, but even if it's education or healthcare, what can we do as stakeholders to help you when you're in Oklahoma City, the conversations we're having with either legislators or elected officials, where do you need us?
Step one, ask your legislators to give Oklahoma tourism a whole bunch more money so that we can continue to market communities like Grove and others statewide to out-of-state visitors. Step one. Step two is continue to invest in your communities. So when people invest in their communities, be that, healthcare, education, whatever that, or even if it's creating new attractions in your communities, that is continue to invest in yourselves because that's clearly paying off right here in Delaware County. Yes?
Can you comment on what's happening in Broken Bow, Oklahoma?
Yes, I can. For those of you not familiar with Broken Bow, it's down in McCurtain County, the very, very far southeast corner of Oklahoma. Is that one right there in the blue? They are the #1 short-term vacation rental market in the country. That they have had such incredible growth down in McCurtain County, also known as Broken Bow, also known as Hochatown, also known as Beavers Bend State Park. So, any of those kind of all apply to that area. It's one of our most active state parks, and they are really investing in themselves. So, fun fact, the McCurtain County Tourism Authority, they have a county level visitor tax. And because they have become so popular, particularly with folks in North Texas, their marketing budget for McCurtain County is almost that of what the Department of Tourism has for the rest of the state. And they're marketing one county, I got 76 others to worry about. So it's that county level visitor tax that is really making an impact down there, and call your legislator. Yes.
Taxes used for this sound great, but I would tell you, I've stayed in hotels in some states where the taxes are almost as much as the rental room. How do we compare?
Well, we don't have a statewide lodging tax, so we are really far below many states. In New York, I think I had a friend visit recently, and their total taxes, local, county, state, whatever else they can figure out to tax, because they're really good at that, that it was over 30%. Over 30%. Down in McCurtain County, where they've got a county level tax as well as a municipal tax, they're looking at 17, 18%. It is not uncommon for us to see, especially if there's a state one on top of that, for us to see over 20% in some of our competing states. Like Arkansas being one, Texas being another, where they have statewide visitor taxes. So, it's kind of, I'm sorry, what? Yes, it's a hotel lodging. Again, they told me I should call it a visitor tax, so I'm really trying hard to do that. We don't have a statewide.
We have 5%.
You have a 5, yeah, I was gonna ask, I was like, I don't know what the one is for the county, but yeah, we do not have a statewide tax.
Versus the 20% that you're talking about.
Yeah, like down in McCurtain County, they have both a county level and a municipal level lodging tax on top of a sales tax, local sales tax on top of the 4.5% statewide sales tax. So all of those taxes adding up together. So when you go and stay at a hotel in McCurtain County, we're looking at about 18%, 20% total.
They don't have the total.
No, ours.
Yours is 5% of for your visitor tax, and then you add on state, local, and any other additional fees. So I don't know what the Delaware County total would be. 10.2% for a night stay at
Plus
home.
5.
Okay, so 15.2 if you stay in a hotel. So it's still below what McCurtain County's doing, and we don't have the statewide on top of that.
What McCurtain County has done has been, if you will, man-made.
Yes.
In other words, we could do that because we also border other states.
Yeah.
We can do the same thing. We've got more resources than they do in terms of natural resources.
Right.
So,
And you guys have more freedom to do development on the lake with the Grand River Dam Authority than McCurtain County or many other lakes, particularly in the State Park Network, because they are managed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers or the Bureau of Reclamation. So there is a ton of opportunity, and thinking through how you guys are. The McCurtain County Tourism Authority, what I think is different than up here, is that I believe like almost 100% of their visitor tax goes to marketing McCurtain County. And so they, have huge billboards in Dallas, and those things are not cheap, but they have the budget to do it, and they're really only worried about one county. And then they have a lot of really engaged advocates within their communities. Ho-to-Town has done a great job on kind of branding themselves within the Broken Bow area. And then I'd love to take credit for the state park. So Beavers Bend State Park, if you don't know, has a beautiful lodge down there. And another kind of interesting fun fact about Oklahoma tourism is that we also manage 38 state parks, 6 lodges, and 7 golf courses. Over 80,000 acres of land managed by OTRD. And that I learned is apparently weird compared to other states. I had the opportunity to come visit with a lot of my counterparts in other states, and I was like, oh yeah, in state parks, and they're like, what? Apparently, in most other states, I believe South Carolina manages their state parks, and a handful of others. We're not only marketing the state, but our other core mission is to manage those parks. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Great information. Thank you so much for that. June service anniversaries. Let's touch on this before we close. Jeff Lundgren, 44 years. Rick Miller, 37 years. Kaylin Beecham, 33. Pauline Hale, 16 years. Peter Neff, 16. Cy, 15. Leonard Francis, 15. Congratulations, guys. Thank you so very much. John Sawyer, 5. Welcome back, John Sawyer. Kathy Thompson, 4. Went away. Dalton Holman 4, Bobby Hendry 3, and Laura Dishman 3. So what a great group. That's just for June. So anyway, very pleased with that. And again, thank you all for your help with Lobster Fest and making that very successful. Yes, Judy?
Next week, we're at First Baptist.
Yes. Vacation Bible School will be held here next week, so we will be having Rotary at First Baptist Church. Okay, so don't come here, because we won't be here. Any other announcements anybody'd like to make before we... Zach, you have 2 minutes. Get the 2-minute drill.
Hurry up, Zach.
Jim Matthews and I were your lobster cooks, and it would be wrong to take credit that would not pass the 4-way test. But I did want to take an opportunity to say thank you for everybody that helped. And it's quite an undertaking to get 300 lobsters served, hot and fresh. If you undercook them, they can have a toxin and make everybody sick. If you overcook them, they're rubber. And if you let them cool, they're rubber. And I tried to get around to a few of the tables afterwards, and it sounded like everything was great. I noticed that the potatoes might have been a little hard. Cooked some lobsters in the corn just fine. But if you have any criticism or any input, get with Jim Matthews and I. We're always trying to look for ways to make that better and make sure that we have that process. And if you ever get a chance to come out and see what we do, it is, a physician and an engineer, what could go wrong with us being good? But we get them on and we get them off, and they cook about 18 minutes, and we get them cool for 20, and we serve them hot. And we really kind of get on the shoulders of all the giants that figured this out before us. But Jim has been really good about taking notes and writing all this thing. Please give us any input, and we want to keep making it better. For the price that everybody pays to come and do this, we want it to be perfect.
Great job, guys. You see, all the Lobster Fest committee chairs, we will be having a debriefing on what we did right and what can use improvement. So be ready to get an email on that. If you will, you can go ahead and stand. Next week's program is Carl Stigler with the 808 branch. We're picking up everything on the chairs and tables. So, of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth?
Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And is it fun?
Yeah.